What's going on, YouTube? Today I'm going to be doing my Deshaun Watson trade scenarios. We have 6 teams up on the board who I feel are most likely to end up trading for Deshaun Watson. Texans currently have $9 million in cap space, and sorry if that's a little hard to see. I kind of just realized that might be difficult, or at least it is for me. The trade actually is going to cost them $5.5 million even after June 1st, but it's better than the $16 million it would be. And $16 million is going to transfer to whoever trades for him as a cap hit. 3-time Pro Bowler. In my opinion, he's the number 3 quarterback in the league. Puts up amazing production even with that horrible team. He's 26 years old and he won out. Let's see who he goes to. Number 6, and once again, pretty easily coming in here at last, is going to be the Raiders. It's kind of the same thing I discussed with Aaron Rodgers, which we did those Aaron Rodgers trade scenarios on the channel if you want to go check those out. Or that out. I don't know why you would want to go to the Raiders. He's complaining that the Texans don't let him in on personnel decisions and that they have a crappy offensive line and they don't get help and they draft bad. Have you not heard of the Raiders? It's the same thing I said with Aaron Rodgers. Do not go to the Raiders if you're complaining about that kind of crap. They make stupid personnel decisions, destroy their offensive line for literally no reason. Don't go there, Deshaun Watson. The trade I can imagine is probably like Derek Carr, Henry Ruggs, Cleveland Farrell, and then a bunch of draft picks. I think what you're gonna be seeing here for a lot of these trades is the Texans are probably going to be wanting a replacement quarterback, 2 good young players, preferably on both sides of the team, and then a boatload of draft picks. In this case, the Texans put together a decent offer, but I think there are much better offers to be made. Obviously, they'll be well below the cap at that point, and I don't think Deshaun Watson would want to go there. So easily coming in last here is going to be the Raiders. At number 5, this was a favorite for a lot of people at first when the rumors were first starting, is the Dolphins. But the more I think about it, I really just don't see it happening. They would definitely have to give up Tua if this was the case, and the Dolphins seem to really like Tua. I don't think they'd want to move on from him already. I really do think that they like what they see in him. Cap would also be an issue for them. Obviously, they'd be well under the cap as well. And they have a few good guys to give, but I think the Texans would be wanting guys on both sides. There's not really anyone for the Texans to give from the offensive side of things. Or the Dolphins to give from offside, I think, because I don't see them wanting to get rid of Parker or Fuller or, Waddle. They want young, good guys, and none of them really fit that except for Waddle, but you're not going to just trade away a guy you just drafted with the 6th pick. They put together a solid offer here, I think, but at the end of the day, again, I just don't know if you want to go play for a team that has such a poor offensive line that, is still kind of far away from contention. As much as people like them and have them going far, they're still far away from being a good team yet. They have a lot of young talent, but they're not there yet. It's not the best move for the Dolphins. It's not the best move for the Texans because, you're getting Tua, who's, a fine enough quarterback to try to develop. You're getting a nice defensive tackle and a safety, but they're not really big upgrades, and that was the best I was kind of able to come up with here. So I feel like, it's a much more likely that Deshaun would go to the Dolphins than the Raiders, but still not very likely here. Number 4, again, another favorite when the Deshaun Watson rumors were first coming out, but the Panthers, I could see it. I definitely could. Cap wouldn't be that big of an issue. They'd only be like $1 million under. And obviously they'd be having to give up Sam Darnold. They'd also be having to give up probably DJ Moore, I feel, is the player that the Texans would be wanting the most. It says Packers, should be Texans. I feel like, DJ Moore or Christian McCaffrey would be 2 players the Texans would want the most, and I don't see the Panthers giving up Christian McCaffrey. There was a rumor that they included him in a trade, but it was just a rumor. And then Troy Pride Jr., a corner to them. I think he'd be a nice fit in the Texans defense. But, and again, they have the capital to give up. It's just, why do you want to go play for a team that's giving up a very good weapon for you to come and behind an offensive line like that? I just don't feel like, what's the point of leaving a team because their offensive line sucks so bad to go to another team where the offensive line sucks probably even worse? The Texans at least upgraded their offensive line big time this year. The Panthers, they signed Pat Elflein, Cameron Irving. What are they going to do? So, I don't really see it making sense on Deshaun Watson's case. And, it's really at the end of the day where he's going to want to go. And I think there are three teams that just make a bit more sense for Watson to want to go to. Number three being the Eagles. I think this makes a lot of sense on Watson's part. Like they're going to probably give away Jalen Hurts, and then probably a couple defensive guys. And going there, you obviously have a much, much improved offensive line if they stay healthy. And that's obviously an issue for the Eagles. Who are you going to throw to, Deshaun? That's my question. They got Devontae Smith, but he's kind of probably going to deal with some injuries as well. And they're giving away two decent defensive players here. I mean, you're really just not going to a much better team, and they're also going to have cap issues if they do trade for Watson. They have the picks to send him, but when you're a rebuilding team, are you really wanting to send that amount of picks for even a player of Watson's caliber? I mean, he only led the Texans to 3 wins, even with how good he is. What's that going to do for your team? In this case, it does definitely benefit the Texans, but I don't see it benefiting anyone else. Watson might like it a little bit, but I really don't see the Eagles making a lot of sense here. So number 3, again, there's still this kind of big gap. Number 2 and number 1 are the two teams that I see being very, very likely for Deshaun Watson if he's traded. Number 2 going to be the Broncos. Definitely have the cap to trade for him, and they have the pieces. I mean, Drew Lock obviously makes sense as a young developmental guy to trade to the Texans. Cortland Sutton is a receiver they can give up since they have such a deep, talented receiving room. And Draymond Jones is a young, underrated, up-and-coming defensive end that fits the Texans defense pretty well, actually. And the draft capital, it's all really here. And this makes sense this time for Watson to actually want to go to, because the Broncos have receiving threats and they have an offensive line and they have a defense. Why not go here? And honestly, the Broncos would be my number 1 team here, if not for the other team just perhaps being a bit more appealing to Deshaun Watson, but also the fact that the Broncos are probably going to be heavily pursuing Rodgers. And so then at that point, I don't think, obviously they wouldn't go after Watson too. So that kind of knocks him down to 2 here, but there's still a very likely team for him to end up. It's really neck and neck here with number 2, number 1, and number 1 going to be Washington. I think it makes a lot of sense. The Texans are going to receive Curtis Samuel and Daron Payne, 2 great players on both sides of the ball. So that fits that need right there, right? The Washington doesn't really have that quarterback to send to the Texans, but that's fine because they're going to give them 4 first rounds and a boatload of capital here. Now, it makes sense on the Texans' part because you're getting a bunch of draft capital and 2 great players on both sides of the football. You're getting rid of Deshaun Watson. You're going to be looking for your quarterback of the future next year, right? On Washington's part, you're giving away a good receiver and a good tackle, but you have very deep, talented receiver and tackle rooms. You're just a quarterback away if you're Washington, so I don't really care how much draft capital I'm giving up for, a guy of Watson's caliber. If he's going to be that final piece to make me a very, very good competitive team, I'll give it away. They have the cap to support it. And on Watson's side of things, Washington is a team that has taken thankfully a big turnaround from where they were a year ago to where they are a functional franchise. I mean, and a big part of that is due to Ron Rivera, who has done a fantastic job helping turn that team around so quickly. And being the coach he is, I think Ron Rivera is a great player. I feel like him and Watson kind of would mesh personality-wise. I think he fits with what they can and like to run in an offense. I see this at the end of the day. The offensive line is not the best, but it definitely did upgrade. I mean, you got Charles Leno on that left side. I really like... I really, really like Samuel Cosme as a guy for the future there. Brandon Sheriff is one of the best guards in football. Chase Roulier is a good center. And, Eric Flowers is fine. But it's not like... I would say the Broncos' offensive line is better, but Washington is still very good. And I think when you just... Again, the fact that, Broncos are probably going to be pursuing Rodgers. At the end of the day, I think Watson might be a bit more appealed to Washington. They don't have quite the team, but I just think at the end of the day, it makes the most sense. And it's really just the trade that I feel most likely for Deshaun Watson at the end of the day. But again, number 2 and number 1 are very neck and neck. But I think, again, with Rodgers, that's going to put the Broncos at 2 for me. But those are my trade scenarios for Deshaun Watson if he is traded this offseason. Let me know what you guys thought down below. Where do you think Deshaun Watson is going to end up, if anywhere? If you guys did like the video, don't forget to drop a like, hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss an upload. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing our next episode of our Madden franchise, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see all you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.